Anthony Criscuolo lives in the Pine Ridge section of East Brunswick with his wife Debbie and 3 children. He is a newcomer to the political scene. Tony first got involved when he joined CAUSE, a citizen group opposing the Wheelabrator Fry Resource Recovery Project. He is the president of A.R. Criscuolo and Associates on South Woodland Avenue, an agency which supplies technical employees to industry. He is running for a term in the Township Council on the Republican ticket. Tony, you, by your own admission, were the reluctant candidate. You weren't very anxious to run, and I'd like to know why you ran and what made you run as a Republican. You said you were a registered independent.
Right. When Wheelabrator Fry, we had a meeting down at the Trinity Church that the Herberts had called. I looked at the Wheelabrator Fry and the landfill. A group was formed, CAUSE was formed, and we started to get information, and I started to dig into the landfill and Wheelabrator Fry. And this was one of the reasons why I became involved in CAUSE. As a result, the Republicans asked me to run because they wanted someone that wasn't in politics, and I felt that I could do the township more good by running and trying to clean our environment, and that's what made me run, or decide to run.
And now that you've been attending meetings and seeing how the town is run, how do you feel East Brunswick is run?
I think East Brunswick was run good, but I think East Brunswick is being run by a one-man rule, which is Mayor Fox. He has 4 Democrats on the council, which are nothing more than rubber stamps. Anything that he wants, he gets automatically. There's no opposition. There hasn't been, in fact, all of Middlesex County. I feel that they need a balance on the board to represent all of East Brunswick.
Do you think there would be a problem with a Democratic mayor and a Republican council?
I think that there probably wouldn't be a problem. I think you would have more of a watchdog to see that Mayor Fox doesn't have some of his pet projects going, and you'd be able to sort of maybe save it with the taxpayers a few dollars.
What type of projects? Which projects are you talking about?
Well, projects that would come up, let's say, in the future. Take one example is the $230,000 that they spent on a study, the sewage authority on the septic system. $230,000 was spent.
You mean in the River Avenue section?
On the River Avenue section. The people don't want East Brunswick to come in there with their sewers, or a cluster, put cluster homes or cluster septic tanks. $230,000 was spent mainly for a consultant. Now they're trying to get $500,000 more from the government, which will probably be spent on more studies. With that amount of money, they could have bought everyone in the section a new septic tank.
Tony, you said you weren't involved except maybe for PTA groups and the JCs. And then Wheelabrator Fry decided to put a garbage incinerator in East Brunswick. And you were a founding member of CAUSE, which was formed to oppose the incinerator.
Right.
Now that you've been more involved, you've been attending county meetings, you have heard more and more about the incinerator. Are you as opposed as you were in the beginning?
More than ever. More than ever. The landfill should not be in East Brunswick or anywhere near this area. It's just a question of time until the toxic waste that's been dumped into the landfill will eventually get into our water system. So not only will we contaminate our water, but with Wheelabrator Fry putting in the garbage burning plant, we'll add more pollutants into what is already known as Cancer Alley.
Do you think the town council, as it is now, has been responsive to residents who are opposed to Wheelabrator Fry? Or do they have anything to say about it?
At the beginning, they weren't. When CAUSE threatened to have a recall, to recall the Mayor Fox and all the council members, they started to change their position. They promised CAUSE that they would have the Wheelabrator Fry issue on the ballot this November. They lied. It is not on the issue. He's gone through a formality of hiring a lawyer, which is spending more of the taxpayers' money. But after November 2nd, if the Democrats get on the council, they have control. It will be business as usual. The incinerator will go up in East Brunswick.
Do you think the council has more to say about it than they're admitting to? The
I
state
think,
says
I
that
think
they're
Mayor Fox
taking-
has more to say about it than he's admitting to.
Tony, as you've been campaigning and meeting voters, what do you think the main concern of residents are?
Well, one of the things is the value of their property. With Wheelabrator Fry going up, there are many people that have their life savings in their home. There were 6 people in the Pine Ridge section just on this block that I live on and across the street that, because of one reason or another, have to move. One is being transferred to Texas. 2 are buying, I guess, bigger homes in the North Brunswick. They're not able to sell their homes. And it's not because of the market situation in real estate. It's because of Wheelabrator Fry coming into this area. And they have been told this by the real estate agents. This is one thing that's affecting them. The other thing is the reevaluation is a question that Mayor Fox and the council should have answered by now. It's going to affect their taxes.
Tony, do you think that the current administration is responsive to the needs of East Brunswick residents?
No, I don't think that they're responsive. They're out of touch with the people because they've been in power too long. They're also insensitive to the feelings of the people. It's an I don't care attitude, or I don't give a damn attitude, because he has the 4 votes on the council, and Mayor Fox could do anything he wants.
What about spending? Republican Councilman Joe Hudak is always complaining that the Democrats just spend too much money. Do you agree with him?
In certain cases, I do agree with him. As an example, at one of the meetings that I have attended, the engineering department wanted to go out and spend, I don't know if they spent it or not, but they wanted to spend $100,000 on a computer drafting machine. Now, I'm in the business of supplying engineers, designers, and draftsmen. And from my experience, the companies that buy these machines, they're sitting around idle. But aside from that, they hire one draftsman for about $4,300 a year, according to their figures. It would take something like maybe 20 years, 15 to 20 years before that they could use up that $100,000. I feel that it's just a toy, that they're using the money because they want to put it in a budget or whatever they want to do with it, but it's coming out of taxpayers' pocket.
Tony, the exciting things before the council, Wheelabrator Fry, revaluation, they're just a few of the many mundane things you'd have to look at as a councilman. Do you think you have anything to offer, or you would be interested in the routine ordinances and resolutions that come up before the council at all times?
Well, not being involved in politics before, I think that I might be adding a fresh approach to the council, maybe an honest approach. I think I could add to the council. I notice one thing that they sometimes lack is common sense. I think I have some common sense, and I think I could add to it.
Do you enjoy the council meetings?
Yes, I'm beginning to enjoy them, and they're not as dull as people may think they are. In fact, I hope that more people attend the council meetings and become more informed. This way, the people who are in office would be in tune with the people if they knew what they wanted, and if they knew the people were interested in their government, they may not get out of hand the way they have.
You have a local business very close to your home. Will that mean you have more time to spend as a councilman?
Yes.
Than one that would commute?
If I had to commute, I wouldn't be able to do this. Being local, and I have a good right-hand man when I'm not there who could run the company, and I think that I would have more time to take part on the council during the day and probably at night too. Because some of those meetings that they last into the wee hours of the morning, I'd never be able to commute. I don't know how Jerry O'Connor does it.
You said that you have a boat and you and your family enjoy boating. You think you could give up some of that time in the boat?
I'd have to probably. But during the summer, the council doesn't meet that often. And we sneak away on Saturdays and Sundays and whenever we get a chance.
Now, Tony, I'd like to meet the rest of your family. This is Debbie, your wife, who I understand is going to school.
Right.
What are you taking?
I'm attending beauty school right now, and I'm hoping to open up my own salon in the future.
Are you taking part in the campaign?
Right now I'm not, but I will in the future.
And will you be happy about having a councilman in the family?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because I think he'll do a great job, because he's very intelligent, and he's a very sincere man, and I'm intending to support him all the way.
That's great. Could you introduce the rest of your family?
Yeah, this is our children, and Tony, he's 27, who's attending New York Chiropractic College, and our two daughters, Kathy and April. They're attending East Brunswick High, and senior and junior, and our dog, Georgia.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Criscuolos for having us here today. It's been a great opportunity to meet a newcomer in the political scene in East Brunswick.
We're visiting Democratic candidate Michael Baker at the home of his parents, Elaine and Irv Baker. Mike is a native of East Brunswick and a recent graduate of Brooklyn Law School. He is a Democratic committeeman and a member of the East Brunswick Recreation and Parks Advisory Board. He's also a founding member of Irate, a citizen group against the proposed Wheelabrator Fry garbage incineration plant. He is now running for his first term as a member of the Township Council. Mike, you're a young man, 25 years old. You just graduated law school. What do you think that you have to offer East Brunswick?
Well, Rhea, I was born and raised in East Brunswick, and I've watched the town grow. I've grown with the town. I've seen a lot of the mistakes that have been made in planning or in the development of the town, and I've seen a lot of the good things that have been made in the town. I've seen the mistakes, so I don't think I'd repeat them. I've seen some of the good things that have happened. I'd like to continue them. I've got a lot of experience over the past 3 years in township activities, in community activities. I think that experience that I've gotten in the functioning of government and in watching East Brunswick grow is my major contribution to the township.
What kind of committees have you been on?
I've been on the Recreation and Parks Advisory Board, which is a board that oversees the entire recreation and parks programs, whether parks will be purchased, where, what type of uses they'll have, and what type of programs we're going to support, whether it's a Camp Daisy program for the brain-injured children, or if it's the senior citizens program, which we're supporting, or the baseball and the football programs.
Mike, once you become a councilman, do you have further political aspirations? Do you think you'd want to go further?
Right now, campaigning is really tough, and I'm sure the job will be very tough. Right now, my first goal is to get elected and do a good job for 4 years for the people of East Brunswick. After that, I don't know, but right now, no. I want to be a councilman.
You made an interesting comment before. You said you might have done some things differently.
Sure.
If you were involved 20 years ago, what would be different in town today?
The way Route 18 was developed would be completely different. It wouldn't have been in such a hodgepodge manner. It would have been more organized, more towards the office type of structures rather than fast food and glittery construction. I also would have tried to move the township of the center of the township towards the center so that we're not just known as a highway town, so that you can have a sense of community spirit, like a Main Street type development.
Now, you told me before that you decided to run maybe 2 years ago. And what were the events leading to that decision?
Well, it's the first time I met my running mate for this election, Jerry O'Connor. I had a complaint about the park in my neighborhood here, Pine Ridge Park. There was some vandalism. It hadn't been all that well kept up. And I went to the town council, and I was angry, and I had loads of pictures, and I made a presentation. And they listened to what I had to say thoughtfully. And I admit I might have been a little bit skeptical about whether they were going to do anything, as many people are skeptical about government at any level. Within a week and a half, the park was fixed up. The fences were repaired, the cracks in the cement were repaired, the broken glass was repaired. and it's been kept in good shape ever since. That was kind of the thing that sparked me to get interested in the town, to say, well, these are some good people who are running our township. They're not just politicians. They're out there wanting to make the township a good place to live in. And then I started thinking back about when I was growing up here and about the other places that I lived in when I was away at school, and East Brunswick is far and away the best town that I've ever lived in. It's got an awful lot to offer for people.
Now, you were born here, and you lived here for 25 years already, and I heard you at the senior center yesterday at the apartment complex. You said, I want to be a senior in East Brunswick someday.
That's
Do you
right.
really want to stay here forever?
That's right. I would like to raise a family here after I'm married, of course, and have them have the same opportunities, if not better, growing up here in East Brunswick as I did.
Now, the new building, Hall's Corner, is a lovely place, but we did hear some complaints from the residents last night. What did you hear that you think you might be able to do something about?
Well, the major complaints were involving access to the local shopping center where Sandy's Luncheonette is and where the Somerset Farms is, on the corner of Cranberry and Bruce. They had problems getting across at the light because it was too fast to change, and some of them aren't moving as quickly as they used to. And there's also a blocking of vision from the roadway by a number of hedges. As I understand, the process is already underway. One day after we met with them, notices will be sent to the homeowner that his shrubs are obstructing view, and it was a dangerous situation because cars would whip around the corner and not see the seniors, asking him to cut them down. And we're going to speak to the Public Safety Department and the Department of Transportation in Trenton to see if they can get a delayed green light put in at the light there so the seniors will have time to get across the street.
They'd really appreciate that. They seem very concerned. You've been on the Recreation Board now for a number of years. Do you think your interest in that will continue even after you're elected? If you're
Yeah,
elected?
I would like to sit on the Rec Board as a council member. There's a lot of good programs that are just starting out now, and some that are making big jumps, like the Senior Citizen Center is going to be developed, hopefully be built this April. There's going to be an awful lot going on with that center to make sure that the seniors can use it as much as they can, and that when they're not using it, the rest of the community can make use of it. So it's kind of a multi-purpose center, and a lot of planning and a lot of work is going to have to go into that, and I'd like to be with the Rec Board when they develop that.
What else is going on at the Recreation Board?
Oh gosh, at the Recreation Board, we're purchasing some parklands to keep them open as sort of a passive recreation area, specifically in the Tisis Lane area. It's near an industrial park area, and there were some homeowners on the other side of the Tisis Lane that really didn't want to see that area right across from their house become an industrial park. The township purchased the land. It'll be kept pretty much in its natural state with nature trails, and it'll be a buffer zone between the residents and the industrial park, so it serves those two purposes.
Well, you were a teenager not that long ago. What recreation did you take advantage of in East Brunswick?
I played on the Little League. I was in wrestling, track, cross country in the school system. I was on a youth basketball team. And there was an awful lot going on, but right now there's more things going on. You didn't have
For
the soccer.
teenagers?
Sure, you didn't have the soccer program. Was that okay? But with the teenage problem that you just mentioned, not a problem, but 13 to 15-year-olds, everywhere in the country, people are trying to figure out what to have for these kids to do. What are they interested in? The Recreation Board did a study and found that they'd like to be in an unsupervised room with video games. I don't think we can provide that. I don't think the parents want that to be provided. But I do think it's important to look further to see what can be done for the middle teen age group. We have a lot for the younger people. We have some things for young adults, but we're really a little bit limited in that 13 to 15 age group.
That's what many people say. You've been a founding member of IRATE, the citizen group against Wheelabrator Fry putting a resource recovery plant near your home here on Edgeboro Road. What are your latest thoughts on Wheelabrator Fry?
Maria, I think the IRATE group and myself feel the same way now that we did shortly after we learned about the Wheelabrator Fry proposal about a year and a half ago. We first looked at it and said, what is this? What's it all about? We were open-minded, and the more we heard, the less we liked about it. Right now we have some, and I have some really severe problems about siting that plant here. Environmentally, they're not allowing for scrubbers to be put in. There's no inspection system in the front end, technologically correct. So what you'll have are gaseous emissions of lead, cadmium, mercury. These things come from such simple things as old paint cans and newspapers. And I'm sure you've read recently a study showing that there's almost no safe level of lead for developing children. It causes developmental disabilities. They're not proposing scrubbers. I don't want to see a plant here without scrubbers. And there are other reasons I don't want to see it here at all. This neighborhood that I grew up in, and my family lives in, Pine Ridge, has really been surrounded over the years, first by a widening of Route 18, then a widening of the Turnpike, then by Kennedy Boulevard being cut in, and now the development of the Edgeboro Park area. We're really being surrounded by industrial development. A plant like that, a quarter of a mile away from a residential neighborhood, just doesn't belong there. And it's not just a local problem, it's a problem throughout the state. If somebody builds a plant in South Brunswick or in Edison, the fallout's going to fall on East Brunswick.
As a councilman, what would you do about it?
Okay, right now, as a in November or January, as a council person, I would continue to support and find the proper technical advice to fight the Wheelabrator Fry application. You have to have a good environmental attorney, which we have, and you have to deal with the state at a level that they understand. You can't be overly emotional with the state. You have to have facts and you have to have figures, and you have to present to them facts and figures in a logical way and convince them on a rational basis, because they're engineers and chemists. I also think it's important on the council to push for a piece of legislation that may be introduced pretty shortly from some Middlesex County legislators for a moratorium on construction of these sorts of plants throughout the entire state, so that we can just sit back and look at what's coming in here, look at what these things are, because nobody really knows what these plants will do, what effects they're going to have on the local or the statewide environment.
Now, the Republicans say that the Democrats are responsible for Wheelabrator Fry coming here. What do you think about the Democrats' history?
Well, I'll say in the beginning, the mayor, maybe he wasn't for it, but he wasn't against it. He said, I'm going to keep an open mind and I'm going to listen to what you have to say. And I think he, as I have and many others have, the more we heard and the more he heard, the more he disliked it. And I think the Democratic administration and council have taken some very positive steps to fight Wheelabrator Fry coming here. For the first place, Jerry O'Connor, my running mate, introduced an ordinance to change the zoning in the Edgeboro landfill area from heavy industrial to light and medium industrial. It would make it much more difficult for any heavy industry to come in here, and that includes Wheelabrator Fry. We've also hired a very experienced and knowledgeable environmental attorney, and we've hired a environmental consulting firm to work with the attorney to follow the Wheelabrator Fry plan as it comes down from the state to the county and to East Brunswick, and voice our official position in every one of those bodies. And the official position is we're against it. We also, I believe, are the first city in this state to have, of this size especially, to have our own air pollution control ordinances. In fact, I think we've embarrassed the state a little bit, because our ordinances against air pollution control are a lot more strict than theirs.
Mike, I don't want to change the subject. We're running out of time, and I do want to meet your family. If you're elected, what is your vision of a totally developed East Brunswick? Totally built up, developed, completed town?
I think a totally developed East Brunswick has to not just provide water and sewers and roads for its citizens. I think we have to continue the type of programs that we've had in town that serve more than just the absolute needs of the community. We have to continue the senior citizens programs, the programs for those who are handicapped, the programs for young, the programs for adults. We have to continue supporting, such as the Playhouse 22. I would like to see them more rounded out so that there are some more programs for the teenage groups that I mentioned, and there are more things for the adults and people with young families to be involved in. But I think it's crucially important to keep East Brunswick the residential community that it is. I think that's a big part of why we changed the zoning over in the Edgeboro area. We didn't want this to be an industrial town. We want it to stay a residential town. I think another thing that's very important, housing costs are very expensive in East Brunswick today, as they are all over. A lot of young people starting out, like many of the people who have been here for 20 years, when they first started out, you don't have an awful lot of money. I think we need more affordable housing in the $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 range so that young families just starting out can have a place to live, and so that our teachers and public servants and police officers have a place to live. I think if the people who are working in the town and the young people can afford to live here, they have so much more of a community spirit and are so much more willing to go out of their way to serve the citizens of the township.
Okay. I'd like to meet your parents.
Sure. Mom, Dad, come on in.
This is Mike's parents, Elaine Baker and Irv Baker. They've lived in town for 30 years now, and Mike is their youngest child. And Mrs. Baker, how do you feel having your youngest son decide to help run the town that you've lived in so long?
Well, we're very proud parents. Over the years, my husband and I have been active in community events, and I think a lot of it has rubbed off on Michael. It's a shame and it's unfortunate, but the young people of today are disillusioned about politics and politicians, and they have kind of steered away from it, and you can't blame them looking at the past 10 years' history. But Mike, although he is young, has had experience in politics, has enthusiasm, has ideas, and I know he will do an excellent job. You know, Michael has a great rapport with all ages. Maybe he gets it from the philosophical conversations he has with his 85-year-old grandfather. Or maybe it comes from getting down on the floor and playing Legos with his 2-year-old nephew. But people are drawn to Michael, and Michael can reach people.
That's great to hear. And I want to thank you for having us here today.
Thank
It's been nice meeting all of you, and thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.